everyone, and welcome to Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and this is a show I've been doing for over 8 years, Wednesdays at 11 Central. It used to be just called SharePoint Power Hour, and it's evolved to be all Microsoft 365 technologies, SharePoint, Power Apps, Power Automate, Teams, Forms, just all those different technologies that are included in Microsoft 365. And our audience is business users, not necessarily programmers or developers, or we don't do anything super technical. So I am not a programmer. I don't know code. So I like to have this kind of keep that business user audience in mind during all of our power hours. We have a lively chat going on. That's the fun thing about it being live. So wherever you're watching this video, below the video, you'll have a link that has a form that you can fill out. And that form is going to let you, now it's not going to be instantaneous. So you will fill out the form and then we have to manually add you to Teams, but then that's where you can join in the chat. So that's the fun thing about having the chat is just lively conversation discussions all throughout the demos. So I send out a newsletter the day before Power Hour, and it's got buttons that you all can vote for a topic. So the topic that you all voted for is very close this week. The topic that you all voted for was section templates on SharePoint pages, and this is a new concept. So it's not going to be super long. It'll be a bit to stretch it out to an hour for this one, but it is good to know it's there, and I'll be adding it to our training. This has just appeared in the last month or so, and it might not have appeared yet in your tenant. So that's another fun thing about Power Hour is I've got kind of like all the little early release settings turned on in my tenant. So when new things like that get rolled out, they're going to be there, and your company might not necessarily be in that first release ring, so it might not be in your tenant yet. So I'm not sure if you're going to see this in your tenant, but here we go. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and it's good to see everybody in the chat. Roll call, say hello. Joelle's usually here with me on video. She's going to be in the chat. She had a meeting conflict. So let me go ahead and get my screen shared. Okay, so this is my SharePoint site, and I'll go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. 150, that's a bit much. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so here's my SharePoint site, and what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and I'll just quickly show you this concept of section templates. And if that's all you needed to know, then then you've learned what you came here to learn. But then I'm going to expound upon that and build some out and talk about web parts and talk about the settings in the web parts and collapsing and expanding sections and just kind of a general overview. So the brand new thing will be at the beginning, then we'll do an overview. And then I plan on talking about, where I found out about these new section templates is that I read the SharePoint blog, just Microsoft's SharePoint blog, and Mark Cashman does this roundup every month. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other things listed in that list of updates in his roundup. So we'll do that last. All right, so here on my page, what I'm going to do is on my SharePoint site, I'm going to go ahead and just click to create a new page. And that way I'll just start with a completely blank page. So we'll just be starting from scratch so you can see these concepts. And my cursor's acting up, my mouse is acting up today. Okay, so I'll just call this test June. And when you create a new page, it starts off with just a text web part on the page. So I'm just going to delete the text web part. I'm just going to delete this whole section. So now I've got a completely blank page, and I could even, if I wanted it really, really blank, I could even go to the header setting called plain, and that takes away that that large header at the top. So here is the magic. The section templates are here. So you just go to add a new section to your page, and voila, there are the templates. Okay, so what are the templates? So let's take a look at what that entails. What does that mean? So I've got this one that gives me a 3-column section. So it's basically giving me 6 web parts. So I've got image web part, text, image, text, image, text. And then I can scroll down and I'll go ahead and add another one just above it. That way it's not right behind my head in the demo. And then, so I've got 1/3 left image and text. So these are really, it's really just putting a bunch of empty web parts on your page. And most of them are pretty much just image and text. So, and it's just laying it out ahead of time for you. They're all pretty simple. Sorry about that. And then I've got 2-column vertical image and text. So yeah, so they're pretty much just, I'll go ahead and fill one out for you to show you kind of what that would entail to get it all set up. But it's 3 columns image and text, 1/3 left, 2 columns, 1 column, 1/3 right image and text, and 2-column image and text. So I'll do the 1/3 right, and I'll do the 2 columns. So these are all things that you can do just with the regular sections. So like, you know, the one that says 2-column image and text, that would be a 2-column section, and then inserting image web parts and text web parts. So it's really just saving you a few clicks of adding empty web parts, and it's just adding empty web parts for you. What do you all think? Is that useful? Do you all use images and text commonly? Like the things that they've included on here are really just images and text. Are those things that you use a lot on your pages? I'm curious to see what you all think about that. So I'll go ahead and start setting one of these up and fill it out to show kind of what that experience looks like. So I'm going to do, go ahead and browse images. And then this is the interface that you always get in SharePoint when you're browsing to insert any kind of image on just any web part that involves images. I've got recent images, stock images, which are my favorite. You can do a web search, your organization. Now, I had a whole power hour that I did one time on these organization assets and having like a common set of images that maybe you have a formal like marketing communications department that has determined a specific set of images that need to be used in SharePoint. That's where those would come from. Then my own OneDrive. If I have images on this site, this is where I could go to the libraries on this site. I could upload an image from my computer, or if I have a hyperlink to an image, I can paste it there. I'm just going to go to stock images, and I'm going to do a robot. So insert that robot, and then there he is. So that is my text web part. So it's each image, this is, again, it's just an image web part. So if I was inserting a web part anywhere on this page with the little insert button, it's image. Yeah, it's just this image web part. So that's exactly what this is. Now with, I'll go ahead and add a couple more of these. I like the stock images again. I'll do another robot. Oh, that one. Hey, Joelle, welcome. Oh, let's see. So you all are kind of answering what I've been asking. Amanda says I don't use those particular web parts in these orders often. More so lists and library. That's Jeffrey. That's kind of what I see a lot of too. Lisa says she uses images a lot. It will save her time. Good. All right. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so I've got my other robot here. Another, let's see. And then, of course, I can do a little bit of formatting in the in this text web part. I'll do another robot. All the robots are welcoming to this site. Oh, that's a cute little one. Let's see. No, I like the yellow. Okay, so I've got 3 robots. And then one thing about the text web part is that it looks like it's just very simple with what it gives you, to pick from here, headings and font size and bold. But there is a lot more to it. So each text web part is going to have this more styles, which pulls out this whole additional set of information. So the little ellipsis, the little more concept for the text web part used to pull up the whole web part properties panel on the far right, but now it pulls up this little sort of a menu, and then it gives you a lot of kind of different options to pick from. So this is telling me I can align left, insert a table, insert an image. So I can actually insert an image into a text web part. So when I go to more options here, that's when it gives me that interface that it used to directly take me to. So that gives me, I like this interface a lot better because it kind of gives me everything all in sort of one screen instead of having to just look at this, like figure out what I'm looking at from this whole list of stuff. So anyway, that's how you can work with the text web part. So every single one of these sections is really the section templates is really just images and text. So hopefully, I don't know. So what do you all think? Yes, they are collapsible. That's what I'll go ahead and cover. So I'll go ahead and start covering the concept of making collapsible sections, but I'm curious, I'm polling you now. What other web parts do you think would be useful that Microsoft should include in the section templates? And they're probably not going to be able to be like list and library web parts because you don't know like what given site is going to have any lists and libraries. So without those, what else do you all think? So I'll go ahead and now that I've added these sections, let me just go ahead and set this one. I'll go ahead and give this one an image too. That's a cute one. Okay. There we go. And then let's look at, so now that I've got 2 of them set up, I can actually move my sections up and down and I can collapse them. So I can take this whole section and I can make a copy of it, duplicate it, and I can move it though. And I can edit it. So let me move this one. Ooh, that's so cool the way it like grabs the whole thing and moves it up like that. And then I drop it up here. So now I just dragged it to the top of the page. So now that I've got these couple of sections set up, these 2, then I'll go ahead and show you more about just section settings. So the crux of what we've been talking about, the topic of this power hour is really just these section templates. So you have officially been introduced to section templates. So that's what they are. It's really just this little extra tab here, and it gives you these empty templates. So now I'm going to go through just the concept of just looking more at section settings. Nothing drastic has changed in the actual just setting up of the sections. So there's nothing like nothing else like huge and new that I'm going to show you having to do with section templates. I'm just going to show you kind of things that section templates have always done. And then we'll go through that, like I talked about, then we'll go through looking at just that, the other new updates that have come out. So when I'm on a section, so here are the buttons that I can use having to do with this whole section, not to be confused with the buttons having to do with each individual web part. So this image is a web part. This text is a web part, this image. So each separate web part is going to have its own little buttons at the top, and the section itself is going to have the buttons down the left side. So when I click this little icon, the one that says edit section, that's where these are my section settings. So I can change this. I can change any section from 1 column to 2 columns, 3. And then as you can see, a lot of these section templates that I added kind of already had these different concepts set up. Like this one is 2 columns, and then this one up here is 3 columns. So that's what that setting does. It just gives you these little columns to be able to drop your web parts in, because web parts are always just going to be stacked on top of each other within that column of that section. And then I've got some background shading that I can do. So now the shading is always just going to be applied to based on whatever your color theme of your SharePoint site is. So let me go ahead and show you what this collapsible concept looks like. So I can say make this section collapsible. And then once I make this section collapsible, and I'll change the color theme of this site too, so you can kind of see like what the different options are. Once I make the section collapsible, then it is going to give me a few other options here. So then I can show the divider line between sections. I'll go ahead and turn that on. And then expand or collapsed icon alignment. So that is, look at that. So that is the icon is a little chevron that people click to be able to expand the section and collapse the section. So do I want that to be on the left or the right side of the page? So see how I move this, the little white chevron moves. And then I say default, do I want it to be expanded or collapsed? So if you want people to have to manually expand whatever section they want, then you can put the default as collapsed. So then it says section name here. So I can just type something, 3 robots, and then I'll go close my section settings here, and then collapse that. And then I can go down to the next section and go to its section settings and give that one a light blue background and go ahead and make that one collapsible and show the divider line. And then I'll say I'm just going to make them all default to collapsed. And then I'll close this little panel and say this one is 2 robots. Okay, so that's that little divider line. So, and then I've got other sections. I can delete an entire section. If I get a section set up the way I like it, then, and I want to do that in more places, like a standard, like I've got, okay, I like the colors, I like what I've typed here, I like the images, I can just take the whole thing and duplicate it on the page. Also, if I've got all my sections set up and the page set up the way I like it, I can also save this whole page as a template. And I think we did a whole other power hour about page templates and saving pages as templates. So, and I can publish this when it's ready. So this is the first time I've published this page, so I get this little prompt. Okay, so then let's go ahead and say, I'm going to go back home, and then I'll go back to this page that I just created. And this one's called Test June. And then it looks like they're automatically expand. So this one was automatically expanded, and this one was already collapsed. So let me see. But that's what that concept is going to look like when you are automatically expanding and collapsing your sections. So you're basically telling it when someone arrives on that page, oh yeah, see, I set the default to expanded for that one, and I had the default to collapse for the other one. And then this little divider line, I'll show you what that looks like. So then when I collapse this, see, this one doesn't have a divider line and this one does. So let's see. I'm going to go into your comments a little bit more. So I was asking a few minutes ago what web parts you think that you would like to be included in the section templates. And Jean says hero. That's a good one. I like that one. We have events, quick links. Amanda says she used the call to action a lot and use only text web parts in multi-column sections. So quick links would be a good one. I agree. Quick links is a very common one. I think we did a whole other power hour about quick links too, and how you can audience target them. Amy says, would love to be able to create our own pre-formatted section templates. That would be nice too. We can create page templates, but section templates would be good. let's see. Lori says I don't have the full page section option yet. The full page section? I'm not sure what you mean. Like the full width? One column, image, and text. That's the full width section. I think maybe that's what you're referring to. Yeah, Jeffrey says the Power Apps web part. I mean, if the Power Apps web part was part of one of these section templates, it would just be an empty web part with no Power App selected. So, yeah, I mean, of course, all of them involve somebody having to configure something. But yeah, that would be. Do you all use Power Apps web part a lot on your pages? I'm curious. Lori says, I wish you could format the text on the heading for the collapsible section. Oh, yeah, this text right here. You're right, you can't do that. Lisa says, is anyone having trouble getting the section background color selection to hold when you publish the page? Oh, interesting. I've never noticed the section color background having issues. That's a weird one. Oh, and I told you that I was going to change the color theme on the site and then look at what the color theme looks like for my sections too. So let's see. Theme. I'll change this to purple. Do I want to customize that? Oh, no, I think that's good. See, these colors here, like this color and the accent color, whatever colors are part of your theme, that is what is going to play into what colors you're going to have available to pick from when you're editing your sections. So let me go to this second section here. And so it's just basically like this purple. The main color that I had in my template, that's going to be what these other colors are based off of. So I've got like a light purple, I've got this gray, and then of course white. And what else? Let me see what everyone else is saying. The only options I see in full width sections are hero, image, and countdown clock. Oh, you're talking about at the top of the page when you go to full width section. Yeah, none of the templates are for a full width section. Yeah, you're right. When you add a full width section, the only types of web parts you can put are image, hero, and countdown timer. That is correct. So that is by design. That's what Microsoft has. Yeah, that for some reason that's what they've determined, that those are the only ones. If you want your section to go all the way from one edge of the screen over here all the way to here, these are the only web parts that will stretch across the screen like that, and it will just be one web part going all the way across. So yeah, like hero. Let's see, like that. So none of the other web part types have the capability of stretching a single web part all the way from edge to edge. So that's why they only give you those three to pick from. I'll go ahead and delete that. But yeah, and the full width section can only be, let's see, let me double check. Full width section, yeah, I'm here at the top, like in the first section here. Let me see if yeah. At one point, I think you could only insert the full width section at the top, but yeah, you can insert it anywhere. Let's see. That it looks like, so other people are saying that they haven't experienced the sections losing their background shading either. Oh, okay. Yeah, Gene says most of his apps go into SharePoint pages. I'm conflicted when it comes to whether or not to insert Power Apps with the Power App web part on a page, because in the past, every time I've done that, it's the end users have been very confused. So, for example, let me go ahead and just republish this page. You have a page that people are on, and you have a Power App inserted on the page, and then the Power App is a form that they're filling out, and it's got buttons. So it's weird. But so instead of clicking like the save or the submit button that was actually in the Power App when they were filling out the form, they were going up here into this built-in menu just on the page, and they were trying to click send to, and they were clicking send to email and finding someone's email address, and they thought that they were submitting that form to a person that way with this page button. So it's like all the buttons in SharePoint all around the page like this ended up confusing end users. So what I like to do is just when they're using a Power App, I usually just give them the link to the whole Power App and it opens in a new tab. And that way you have total control of everything on the whole screen and what they're possibly clicking on just in the Power App. And they're not going to be confused as to like all these other navigation links and buttons on the page. So, but it depends on the purpose of your Power App. I mean, if you're just displaying one that's like showing them some information and it doesn't involve them needing to click in it, or if you have, that your users are very advanced and they're going to understand that, we have a lot of variables involved, right? Let's see. Instead of Power Apps web part, I use quick links to Power Apps. Lisa, that is a great idea. So that kind of ties into what I was just saying, where you still have them going to SharePoint, but you're using quick links to send them give them a hyperlink to open the Power App. And that way you're still opening the whole Power App separately and not embedding it on the page. I love that. Great tip. And then let's see. Yeah, okay. No other questions, I think. All right. So that was another concept that you have in here is the other concept with templates is we did a whole other power hour about these site templates. So the thing about the site templates is the site templates are I keep clicking on it, it's not doing anything. Dun, dun, dun. That is weird. Apply a site template. It's not clicking. The site templates, what I was going to say is that, Microsoft has provided some site templates and you can have your own organization site templates, but that is going to create an entire, that is going to take this, it's not going to create a new site, but it's going to take this whole set of pages, this whole set of web parts. It's going to replace your home page, and it's going to be very intrusive. So it's going to add a whole bunch to your existing site, and you might not want that. So then kind of the next step down from that is page templates, but then the page templates are really just only in that one site, and they only apply to pages people create in that site. So there isn't a way to just create a page template to go across sites. So then the next step down, I guess, is what they're trying to provide here with this concept of the section templates, which is not as intrusive and massive as a site template. And it's kind of more portable, and it's kind of generic across all of your sites. And so that's, I think, where they're going with it. Just a more simple, small kind of template. Tammy says vertical sections have to go the full length of the page. Yes. She said sometimes the MS Lookbook gives vertical section in their list of site features when the page clearly doesn't have a vertical section. I have no idea why they would do that. I can show you real quick what a vertical section looks like. And let's see, I'll go here at the top, go to vertical section here. And if I try to do this, yeah, I can do it from all the different, wherever I do this from, it's going to add this vertical section that starts at the very top and just goes down the full right side of the page. So within this vertical section, I'm just stacking web parts one on top of the next. So I'll just go image, and oh wait, I don't want to do that. Let's see. And then another one below it. Could do like highlighted content. So as you can see, this gives you the ability to have a panel that flows all the way down the page, and it just stays next to whatever the web parts are, whatever the sections are already going down the page. So it just gives you more flexibility. Yeah, so that's what the vertical one looks like. I like giving the vertical section a different color. I'll make that one dark, and then I'll go back to this other one. and make it gray, I think. There we go. Or blue. So then, yeah, makes it a little interesting looking. Let's see. Is the site template choices the same from the SharePoint lookbook URL? Pretty much, yeah. I'm not sure, like I've never sat there and compared every single template, but it is, I think the lookbook still might have more, like a larger quantity. But so what you're going to get with the site templates are, it's going to be based on what kind of site you were already on. So this is a communication site that I'm on, that I'm working in. So the communication sites are going to have communication site templates to pick from. And then if you were on a team site, it's going to have a completely different set of templates to pick from. So I think I'm on a communication site. Let me see. How can I tell if I'm on a communication site? The way I can tell is by the fact that I don't have like a number of members thing up here. It'll say like the number of members for your site if it's a team site. Another thing, did you notice this? Another thing that's fairly new. Watch this when I'm editing the page. Microsoft has made it so that you notice a whole bunch of things disappeared when I started editing the page. That left navigation, that's disappeared. Top navigation disappeared. Everything around just kind of, the web part page that I'm editing expanded to fill the whole section here, the whole screen, so that I'm focused on what I'm editing. So that makes it a little, I guess, simpler, because I'm not distracted by, having navigation or thinking that I can edit the navigation when I'm editing the page or whatever. So that is a fairly new setting, a concept that it automatically does. Let's see. Lisa said the vertical section drops to the bottom of the page if the window is too narrow. Yep. So if I collapse my screen down, yep, look at that. So when my screen gets smaller, there's my vertical section down at the bottom. And that's by design. That's making it responsive, basically. That's Microsoft's answer to where they think that belongs when the screen gets smaller. I would think that you'd want it to go across the top, but I guess they decided that it's going to go to the bottom. All right, another thing is, so now we've covered section templates, very basic. We've covered how to fill in section templates, how to use the web parts that are in them, how to add web parts, how to edit these image and text web parts, how to edit section properties, move sections around. And so now let's go ahead. So let me know if you have any other questions about web parts, sections, pages, templates, those concepts. But I'm going to go ahead and start moving on to, I know it's only been half an hour, but like I said, it's going to be a short power hour. I'm going to go ahead and move on to start talking about some of these other new concepts that are rolling out. But again, I know that there's like a 10 or 15 second delay from me talking and you seeing it live. So, but go ahead and type any questions that you have, and I'll be able to go kind of bounce around and answer those. But yeah, we have a litany of power hours that we've done about web parts and pages and news and different specific web parts and all their settings. And also in our training at iwmentor.com, we have a whole power user section of courses, and there's a whole course that's like 3.5 hours long that is all site design and web parts. So all of these concepts that I've just been showing you, I have an actual pedagogy, which means you're learning things in order and you're learning all the details. And so the training is much more regimented and in order than the power hours are. Power hours are kind of just random ad hoc demonstrations. So I get that question a lot. What's the difference between the power hour and the training? And the training is more formal, in order, and it's got quizzes along the way, and it's got, I don't know, it's just more organized than I am with my random demos. Let's see. Roberto's got a section, my calendar suggestion. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Benjamin said on the top of your screen, I see some drop downs. How are those added? drop downs. Oh, that's navigation. These things. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's just navigation. And I think I have the navigation is actually, let me close this. When I click edit here, I'm on the home screen of my hub. So if I wasn't on the hub home right now, I wouldn't have an edit button. But since I happen to be on the hub, this is where I edit my navigation. So when you put your navigation in these little hierarchy, you got like a top level, and then you put these in as sublinks, and you move them up and down, like back and forth, so that you have a top level, a middle level, and a third level. These are called sublinks. So I can say promote sublink, which would make it go higher up in the hierarchy, or I can make something go lower in the hierarchy. And that's how you get the drop down, because then the drop down is automatically going to have, this is your top level of your hierarchy, and then the second level is going to be these dark ones, and then that's the third level is all those smaller ones underneath each one. Yeah, the mega menu. Yep. That's what that is. All right, so now let me get over to the pit stop. SharePoint roadmap pit stop. So I highly recommend, I'll go ahead and copy this and put it in the chat. I highly recommend subscribing to or paying attention to Microsoft's just this SharePoint community blog, and being able to get all the updates. So this is what I read whenever it comes out, and that's how I know about a lot of just like topics that, you know, to get you all to vote on for Power Hour and new things that exist. So this is a really good way to keep tabs on the new things. But also, I mean, I know that there's a roadmap, and I know your message center in SharePoint is going to have like updates of things coming out. But this blog by Mark is going to have more of actual things that are out, are rolling out currently, as opposed to this kind of overwhelming list in the message center of features that may not come out for 2 months and that you can't really tell if they're out or not. So this is just a really good sort of synopsis that he does. Let me see. All right, so I put that in there. So this is one that the SharePoint site template history panel. This goes along with our theme today of templates. So I just haven't seen it in the tenant. So where it would appear would be on site information, and it would be right here. It would be site template. Where did it say? It's going to be called View Template History. So I don't have a View Template History button on mine. But maybe that's because I haven't applied a template. Let me see. I'm gonna do this test. I'm gonna test this and just see it just while we're going, just to see what happens. So I'm gonna create a new site. I'll go ahead and create a team site and put a template on it just while we're here. Okay, June demo and blah 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 blah. Next. And don't need, let's see, maybe I'll add Joelle. And finish. So then I'll have a new site. And that's the first thing that pops up when you first create a new site, is it's prompting you to take a look at the templates. So I'll give it a second and get my gear here. And then apply a site template. So this is a team site, so I'm only going to get team site templates to pick from. So I'll go ahead and just pick project management, use template, and then it's applying my template. So the concept with this new feature is that you're going to be able to have this history of the templates that have been applied to your site. And that way it'll just give you more information about what's been going on your site. So now I've applied this template. And again, I'm not sure if this feature has been rolled out in my tenant yet. So I'm going to look at my site information And no, I don't see anything about looking at my template history. I'm going to look in one more tenant real quick and see. So this is our Power Hour tenant that we use for a lot of the demos that we do during Power Hour. So I'm just going to see on this site if it has, this is a completely different tenant. Let's see if it has that. Site information, no. So I don't have anything about the template history in my tenants yet, which is fine, but it's something that's coming soon. All right, so what else? So that, again, that's going to be really cool. Do you all think that that would be useful? Do you all find that you need to know what people have been doing on your site and what templates have been applied? Is that something that you've frequently pondered? I'm curious. So I'm going to scroll down to the next one. Now, we talked about Stream a couple of Power Hours ago, and I mentioned when we talked about Stream and we talked about the ability to put Microsoft Forms polls in your Stream videos, that Microsoft was changing Stream. There's kind of a new Stream now, that it's more inside of SharePoint, so that it's not so awkward of having to go to a separate app to look at your videos. So this is view and edit video and audio information. So this is when you have a video in that you put in SharePoint, now it's going to have this more rich set of features, set of functionality and settings. Now that you used to have this, now we've always had this in Stream, and before that was Office 365 video. But now these concepts are going to be right there in the video in SharePoint, which is where people want to put their videos anyway, right? So Amanda says she spends a lot of time in version history. Yeah, so it's good to have version history with your sites, right? Yeah, Jeffrey said could be used as a governance tool, the thing with the site template history. But yeah, you're right. He said I'd like to see other more pressing governance tools developed. Yeah, template history. All right, so then we've got, again, this is just information about video settings. And then here's the thing about the section templates. This is very cool. I put a link in our resources for this course, for this Power Hour, in the posts tab in Teams, and I just put this little hyperlink. It's just the Microsoft generic, just information about this new feature. It's like one little help page, the little built-in support.microsoft.com page. Microsoft Loop components in Outlook Mail. So I did a whole Power Hour about Loop when it was brand new a couple of months ago, and the only place that the Loop components existed at the time was in Teams, so that's when I did the demo. But you have Loop components in Outlook Mail too. So now you can insert a component into an email message, and then that component is going to stay dynamic. So think about like a OneNote that you're editing, and multiple people are editing potentially at the same time, and it's just got like this living, breathing document that people are adding things to and doing things with. That's kind of what the Loop component is, except it can just be right there in the email and people are constantly editing it, which is weird because usually an email is just like one little set of static information, right? Let's see. Oh, let's see. Voting on Power House topics. Yes, you can. I think you can just, it only lets you vote on one thing. In Roberto, I think, in the email. I'm not positive though. It's not very scientific. Yeah. So again, Amanda said the new Stream sounds really nice. Cool. Yeah. And then there are now PowerShell controls for Loop components. And then there is a inspiration library in Microsoft Viva Insights. So we've done a Power Hour about Microsoft Viva topics. Joelle did that. But Microsoft Viva Insights, I'm pretty sure that's something that you have, that's like an extra, like a premium cost. I'm not positive though. But no, we have not. I have not delved into Microsoft Viva Insights yet. This is a good one. What do you all think about this? We did a whole Power Hour about the calendar in SharePoint. Now in Microsoft Lists, your calendar, you can view items, you can drag and drop them from one day to another. So you can take a calendar event. Look at that. That is so cool. And just drag it around to another day. That's huge. Love it. Y'all love that? And then we've got Microsoft List in the feedback portal. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, just when you're giving feedback, they added it as a category. Yeah, so keep an eye. That's all there is to it, really. So keep an eye on, I'll flip back to that and my video. All right, so yeah, that's just something to keep tabs on, is, to know what's going on in SharePoint and Microsoft 365, is to look at the roadmap pit stop. And thank you all for joining me with talking about the new section templates. Again, I knew there wasn't going to be much to it, but of course, I almost stretched it out to an hour. It was really good chatting with you all. You had some great questions and insights. I love all your feedback about what web parts you would like to see added as part of the section template. So that's really good feedback. I'll be sure and pass that on. And yeah, I love all your lively discussion that we've had, and thanks for joining. And if you would like to see when we have power hours coming up, let me switch back to my screen again. You can always look at our calendar, our schedule here. So this is, if you're not subscribed to the newsletter and you just want to be able to go look here and see when there's a power hour coming up, this is where you can look. So here's today's. So next week we have our office hours for Ultimate members, which is where it's our private Q&A that we do with our own private forum. And then the next power hour is going to be June 15th. So this is where you can find it. All right. Thanks again for joining. And don't forget to check out our training at iwmentor.com. And I will see you next time. Over and out.